The emergence of the blue eyes occurred between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago as a result of an intriguing mutation. Before that, brown eyes were the only color found in the humans on Earth. All those with blue eyes share a common ancestry according to the scientific evidence. This single person, who is responsible for today's 8% blue-eyed people, appeared or was born in a region near the northern Black Sea after the last ice age. Researchers at the University of Copenhagen examined the genetic makeup of the chromosomes in the eye's iris and compared 155 blue-eyed people from a variety of nations, including Jordan, Turkey, and Denmark. The lack of genetic variation among the study subjects and the presence of the same genetic mutations, in particular eye-related chromosomes, suggest that the mutations causing the blue eyes is a recent development. Genetic mutation affecting the OCA2 gene in our chromosome resulted in the creation of a switch, which literally turned off the ability to produce brown eyes. Professor Eberg from the Department of Cellular and Molecular Medicine at the University of Copenhagen, Denmark, said, according to a study during the last ice age, the world's blue-eyed inhabitants first appeared in a location to the north of the Black Sea. These individuals, according to the Professor Hans Eberg of the University of Copenhagen's Department of Cellular and Molecular Medicine, were Proto-Indo-European Aryans who rode horses into Iran and India, introduced agriculture to Western Europe. As a recessive characteristic, blue eyes require the inheritance of the gene from both parents in order to be present. The so-called P protein, which is involved in the formation of melanin, is encoded by the OCA2 gene. The color of person's skin, eyes, and hair are all influenced by this pigment. The OCA2 does not completely turn off the gene. Instead, it restricts its activity to lowering iris melanin synthesis, which dilutes brown eyes into blue. Humans would have albinism if the OCA2 gene had been completely eliminated or turned off, leaving them without melanin to give their hair, eyes, or skin a color. Blue-eyed gods. There are a lot of mummies with blonde or fair hair when we look at ancient Egypt, which is likely one of the oldest civilizations ever. Similarly to ancient statues of beings with enormous blue eyes were created by the Sumerians. The lofty temple atop the ziggurat was then constructed to house these antiquated figures. It is obvious that our ancestors attached great significance to the eye motif on these sculptures. Jane Schutter, a forensic archaeologist, looked into various skeleton-filled Sumerian burial sites. She claimed that Sumerians were short and sturdy. They had downward-sloping eyes, straight slender noses, and thin lips. According to Schutter and other archaeologists, the Sumerians had a dark complexion, dark eyes, and dark hair. The dark-haired people was another term used by Sumerians to describe themselves. Even though the gods and goddesses of ancient Sumer were extremely complicated, 4 of these strong individuals were crucial since they were the ones who created everything. The Sumerian gods were portrayed as people. Enlil, who appeared on Earth before people were created, was one of the most powerful and significant gods. The Sumerians, like many other ancient cultures, considered blue eyes to be a sign of the gods. Some of the eyes are highlighted, while those that are only white have probably lost the color that was added when the sculpture was first made. The large blue eyes on the ancient Sumerian statues have the symbolical significance. These statues are all unique. Both the faces and the attire differ. This indicates that numerous individuals rather than just one significant person were intended to be represented by the statues. According to Irene J. Winter at Columbia University, New York, the enlarged staring eyes of Mesopotamian votive statues have often been remarked upon as a characteristic stylistic feature, only occasionally with the preposition that their function must have been to denote attentiveness toward the presumed object of their gaze. Yet it is known that these statues were placed to shrines either seated with their own chapels or standing in direct visual contact with their resident deity. It is difficult to know for sure what the Sumerians were thinking when they made the large blue-eyed statues without access to historical writings. However, since many of the beings are gazing upward, it can be considered that there is a connection between heaven and earth because blue eyes were thought to belong to the gods. 2,000 years ago, a blue-eyed ruling class ruled an ancient civilization that dominated Peru's northern coast. The Moke was its native people. Some of the huge pyramids they built are more than 100 feet tall and still tower over the surrounding landscape. Archaeologists in Peru, Yucapuclana ruins, stumbled upon a blue-eyed mummy in old tomb that was thought to be from the pre-Incan Wari tribe. The Lady of the Mask is a mummy found at the Huacapacaluna Pyramid in Lima, Peru, whose extraordinary blue eyes may hold the key to unlocking mysteries of a long-gone civilization. Due to the fact that the main tomb was found undamaged and untouched by robbers, some researchers believe that the Lost Sinai's tomb to be one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in this part of the world in the past 30 years. He was known as Viracocha by the Inca, Kukulkan by the Maya, Quetzalcoatl by the Aztecs, Wutan by the Palnik people, Zamna by the Izamal people, and Gucumatz by the Central Americans. And he was characterized as tall, bearded, having white skin, and having stunning emerald blue eyes along with his men. Approximately 95% of Europeans in Scandinavia are estimated to have blue eyes. Additionally, a wider diversity of skin and hair colors are observed in those individuals in comparison to other continents. Europe has a broader range of skin pigment and hair color. Why are there so many people with blue eyes in the Baltic and Scandinavian regions? Researchers claim that there is a positive selection favoring blue eyes in this area. According to some theories, skin cancer caused by UV exposure, vitamin D insufficiency, and sexual selection are all factors in the selection of pigmentation features. Blue-eyed people gradually became widespread throughout the world. Ancient cultures believed that having blue eyes was a sign of the gods. There are numerous statues of people with blue eyes from ancient cultures. Who was the progenitor who caused the genetic mutation that gave rise to blue eyes in very early times? That is the most intriguing question that is yet to be resolved.